converting all the biodegradable waste Vermiculture is a method of converting all the biodegradable waste such as farm waste, kitchen waste, market waste, and bio waste, like a bio waste of agro-based industrial waste and animal waste like livestock waste. Uh, so it's that into the useful products through the activity or the action of earthworms. Through their digestive process, earthworms have the capability to convert the decaying vegetable material or vegetable matter and composted green waste and the animal waste and paper waste into a valuable nutritive products for agriculture use. The ideal objectives of vermi technology or vermicomposting or vermiculture are to upgrade the value of the virginal waste material produced that upgraded material in situ and to obtain a final product free of chemical and biological material biological material or biomaterial and that final product that should be that like free of chemical and biological pollutants. Earthworms form a major component of the soil system and the organisms have been efficiently plugging the land for millions and millions of years and assist in the recycling of organic nutrients for the efficient growth of plants. And the compost worms are being used for recycling of organic waste and have the potential to be used in vermi technology, waste conversion systems for industrial or municipal applications. Although there are many species of earthworms are suitable for waste processing, there are here you can see the organic waste. Just now we talked animal manure here, crop residues, and sugarcane trash, vegetable fruit residue, and leaf litter, food waste, any biodegradable waste. So, uh, yes, there are two species that is namely Eisenia fetida and Eudrilus eugene that we will discuss later. Have mainly been taken into consideration for vermicomposting because their growth, productivity, and ability to transform organic waste as animal dung and agriculture residues, urban washes, and sludge have been widely reviewed. The process of converting organic waste by earthworm consumption into a nutrient filled humus is called vermicompost. Again, I'm repeating. What is vermicomposting? The process of converting organic waste by earthworm consumption into a nutrient-filled humus is called vermicompost. And worm casting, the scientific name of worm manure, are nature's finest soil conditioners that are called as garden's gold. On account of their excellent soil amending value in the natural system, earthworms, along with soil microorganisms that degrade organic waste material of soil and thus maintain a nutrient flux. Earthworm cast, consisting of excreted masses of soil mixed with residues of the pulverized and digested uh, plant residues, usually called as vermicompost. The vermicompost is a product that rich in organic, bio, soon after I'll finish the class, if time permits me, uh, depending upon the committee, I will share my PDF and PPT. Sorry for the glitch. Here, as just we discussed about the gardener's gold, earthworm cast consisting of excreted masses of soil mixed with residues of pulverized and digested plant residues that usually called as vermicompost. The vermicompost is a product that rich in organic, bio-mediated or like bioremediated matter that which differ from the compost obtained from the same matrix for its a level of humification and the greater presence of microbial metabolites are responsible for the fertilizing value of casts. By maintaining suitable temperatures in even in the cold winter months and creating suitable conditions for earthworms to thrive, they can process a large amount of organic material, uh, consuming, digesting, and passing almost any decaying organic material or matter that including like food waste, leaves and grass and paper, cardboard waste and chopped straw, hay and any biodegradable material and crop residues, everything, etc. So this is about the introduction of here uh, we have the terms like what we discussed, what is vermi technology, and also we discussed about vermiculture and vermi technology, how to the upgraded material obtained through in situ biological material processing, and what is garden's gold, and we also discussed about humification, and vermicompost. After this, first we have to know the history of vermiculture, how the vermiculture came into limelight. The Egyptians, first the story started from Egyptians. So the Egyptians were one of the first cultures to recognize the soil amending properties of the earthworm under a Cleopatra's rule. So the removal of earthworms from Egypt was a crime that could have one killed. Worms have been observed by such scholars like Aristotle, Charles Darwin as organisms that decompose organic material into rich humus or compost. However, the actual practice of a vermiculture is about a century old, like Charles Darwin in his period 18 to 1809 to 1882, the one who studied earthworms for 40 years and estimated that an acre of British farmland contained 50,000 of earthworms, and that can produce about 18 tons of worm gas per year. It can humidify the land that much. So, the first serious experiments on the vermiculture was conducted in Holland in 1970, and subsequently in England and Canada. It is believed that the mother of modern day vermiculture is Mary Appelhoff. Mary Appelhoff in 1970. As a Michigan, USA biology teacher, Appelhoff wanted to continue composting in winter months, even though she lived in a northern climate. She ordered worms from a bait shop nearby and set up one of the first indoor composting systems. She found her a composting system to be a great success. She published two brochures that entitled "A Basement Worm Bins Produce Potting Soil and Reduce Garbage" in the year of 1973, and "Composting Your Garbage with Worms" in 1979. Her work was featured in a New York Times that titled "Urban Composting, a New Can of Worms." Finally, in the year of 1982, she published a book entitled "Worms Eat Many Garbage." This inspired many people to partake in vermiculture, especially urban apartment dwellers. The American Earthworm Technology Company that started vermicomposting from 1978 to 1979 with 5,000 tons per month of vermicompost production. In the early 1980s, under the leadership of Dr. Roy Hartenson, a field scale practical methods were developed for decomposing, like disposing of poultry, pig, and cattle waste in an interdisciplinary research project. Since then, a number of vermiculture studies in USA, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Philippines, Australia have demonstrated a very considerable economic potential. The University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, that initiated vermiculture in India and propagated the knowledge to forming a community by releasing a press note in the year of 1984. Mr. Remark Moraka, a rural research foundation in Rajasthan, has been the most entrepreneurial organization for vermicomposting technology in India. So far, recently the Haryana Community, a forestry project, has been started in 43 development blocks of Haryana with financial aid from European Union vermicomposting plants with a capacity of 100 tons per day are operating in Pune, Bangalore, and several other cities of India. In Assam, the practice of vermicomposting was started like Assam Agricultural University, Jorhat. Now it has gained popularity in all the corners of the state. This is about the history of vermiculture. Then we'll before going to the internal depth into the subject, first we'll check what are the types of earthworms used for composting. Before that, firstly, uh, we are talking about earthworms. Earthworms, as just we discussed, are popularly known as a farmer's friend and garden's gold and nature's plowman. Directly, indirectly, it has the capacity to make the soil into loosening and makes the soil into like a very nutritive material. So this earthworm three ecological categories of earthworms we have, that is anisic and endogic and epigic, or we can pronounce it as a endogamic, endo endogaic and epigaic. Anisic, endogaic and epigaic. What are they? The anisic and endogaic are known as soil ecosystem engineers, and their impact on soil is a greater and may influence the properties and processes at the ecosystem level. The functional role of epigeics is primarily that of litter, like other litter invertebrates. So first we'll go with the anisic. What is anisic? Here, anisic, the earthworms feed on decaying organic matters which are responsible for cycling organic debris, and this NSEEC, the dominant earthworm in biomass in many temperate regions, soils are primarily a vertically burrowing species. They feed on surface, litter, and more or less are permanent refuges in underlying soil horizons. They often produce a characteristic a surface features called middens, MIDDEMS, which are a circular and mound shaped region around a surface of burrows opening, which is a mixture of a surface organic materials and soil. These are thought to act as external remains where microbes and fauna attracted to this hotspot enhance the decomposition of undigested litter. And organic fragments in cast, probably due to a fungal colonization of these substrates, the feeding and casting habits of NSEEC may deeply influence the soil characteristics up to 1 meter depth. The translocation of litter, mucus excretions, air penetration, and selection of soil particles enrich the burrow walls with organic material, organic matter, and plant available nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium. This is about NSEEC. When coming to the endogeic, endogeics are the most prevalent earthworms in biomass, is most tropical environment, often being the only group present, particularly in ecosystems. Endogeics are geophagous earthworms that feed on subsurface soil horizons and on soil organic matter of different qualities. They produce a surface and below ground casts. Endogeic cast with generally more clay and more organic material, that undigested soil contain and release a significant amount of nutrients. A fresh cast of Pontoscolex corytharus that may have 2 to 8 times more inorganic phosphorus and ammonia, and that undigested soil, this nitrogen may result from a selective ingestion of richer soil proportions like microbial mineralization and enteronephridal nitrogen excretions or asymbiotic nitrogen like denitrification. the process like a denitrification in the gut, and the fungal hyphae and active protozoa and algae and myxomycetes species and nematodes may be digested, while encysted or protected forms survive gut passage and then are rapidly proliferate in the cats. And the last one is epigeic. Epigeic species. These are found in natural environment in the topsoil, name itself indicating epi, where they feed on decaying organic matter. And these epigeic species grind and partially digest a surface litter, rarely ingesting soil particles. The soils are affected indirectly via changes in the litter. The effects of epigeic earthworms are not truly drilospheric. Drilospheric means a zone of earthworm influence that re-disrupts plant litter, carbon throughout the soil. The soil profile are enriched with nitrogen, phosphorus, and humified organic matter that increase the water infiltration, provide a um, biopore to the plant. Their mode of litter processing is natural systems are resulting in a greater nutrient leaching into the soil. The epigeics feed purely on litter and generally have a short gut transit time. They probably depending upon a rapid response of gut microbes to aid in digestion. This is about the types of earthworms which is used for composting. Those are anisic, endogeic, epigeic. Here you can see the pictures of Lampito, Moritine, and Perions excavatus. Morphologically also those two organisms are fairly different. Before going to the life cycle of the earthworm, here we'll discuss about the ecological role and economic importance of earthworms briefly. The microorganisms and the earthworms that acts like symbiotically to accelerate the enhance and the decomposition of organic material. Earthworms in generally are greatly resist to many pesticides and concentrate the pesticides and heavy metals in their tissues. They also inhibit the soil-borne pathogens and work as a detoxifying agent for polluted soil. Earthworms can be used for affluent treatment and heavy metal and pesticides removal from industrial and agricultural waste. As we know, earthworms promotes the growth of beneficial decomposer bacteria in waste biomass. The earthworms are the most important soil invertebrate in the soil ecosystem in terms of biomass and activity that often considered as ecosystem engineering. Earthworms are not essential to have in soil, but their presence can be a good indicator of good soil quality. Earthworms improve the physical structure of the soil, improve water filtration rates and absorption rates that in turn helping the soil to drain better. The tunneling activity of the earthworms also improves soil aeration, porosity, and permeability. The feeding and casting habits of Anisic, Anisics may deeply influence a soil characteristics that may up to 1 meter depth. The translocation of litter, mucus excretions, air penetration, and selection of soil particles that enrich the burrow walls with organic matter and plant available nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium. Here again, I want to introduce the terms like vermiculture before going to in depth into the topic. Vermiculture. Vermiculture means it is a scientific method of breeding and raising the earthworms in in the controlled conditions. So in the controlled conditions with the uh, in the scientific tempo, we are breeding and raising the earthworms is called as vermiculture. And vermi technology, yes, vermi technology, that is a combination of vermiculture and vermi composting. Here, earthworm can be used for the development of arable soils, a breakdown of a plant organic matter, and aeration and drainage. Also for the production of useful products like vermi fertilizer and worm tissue for animal feed. And what are the environmental requirements and cultural methods for vermicomposting? As just we discussed, vermicomposting, this is also called as gold from garbage, queen of compost, and we have also have many synonyms. And vermicomposting, it is a method of making compost with the use of earthworms, which generally live in soil, eat biomass, and excrete it in a digested form. This compost is generally called as vermicompost or worm, wormy compost. We already discussed about endogeics, that is surface feeders. Here we have endogeic, I already shown you. the um, surface feeders. The epigeics are Escherichia foetida. I'll show you all this uh, at tomorrow's class because we'll go depth into the topic. So, before going to the topic here, first we have to know the structure of our structure and systematic position. So, here I'm going to discussing about Peritima postuma. It is a well-known earthworm. This Peritima postuma, it is belonging to the phylum Annelida, class Oligochaeta, genus Peritima, and species postuma. Here you can see the structure. The common name is earthworm, and the habit and habitat. These are nocturnal in habit and live in damp soil, moist and humus, rich soils of lands, gardens, etc. In dry weather, they burrow deeply into the soil to avoid dryness. Their niche is herbivore and macro decomposer and is important as a source of food for birds. It is also helpful in soil aeration and increasing soil fertility. So here the external characteristics of Peritima postuma. A body is long, narrow and cylindrical in shape. Length may reaches up to 150 millimeter and body color is brown in color. Anterior end is pointed while the posterior end is blunt. Body is divided into 100 to 140 segments called metames. The anterior most segment is called prostomium and the mouth is crescent aperture that presented at anterior end. The segment containing mouth is called peristomium. Setae are present at all the segments except first and last. Each seta is embedded in a setal cavity or like sac. A granular band called clitellum is situated in 14 to 16 segments. It forms cocoon during the reproduction. A female genital pore is situated in a 14th segment of that is ventral surface, while male genital pore is presented in 18th segment. The earthworm feeds on organic matter in the soil. The food is sucked by a pharynx and esophageal glands and calcite to neutralize the acidity of the soil. The food is grinded by the horny linings of gizzard and is absorbed in the intestine. Undigested food material passes out through the anus and is deposited as worm castings. The earthworm breathes by the diffusion of gases through its moist skin. The blood circulate the blood presented in earthworms are hemoglobin, which transports the oxygen throughout the body. The duty of hemoglobin is transportation of oxygen throughout the body along with blood. And the circulation system is a closed type of circulatory system. Earthworms does not have no any sense organs, but they can sense light intensity by small light sensitive cells found mainly on the upper surface, skin surface of their body. They can also sense vibrations and chemicals by means of tactile or chemoreceptors. The earthworms that exhibit undulating movements, which takes place by alternate contraction and relaxation of a circular and longitudinal muscles of each segment. Earthworms are hermaphrodites, means both the sex organs are presented in the same animal, but they reproduce by cross fertilization. And coming to the digestive system of earthworm, yes, earthworm's digestive system have alimentary canal, glands along with the physiology of the digestion. Alimentary canal is long and straight, extending from mouth to the anus. Yes, it has the mouth at first segment, buccal cavity at second and third segment, or middle segment of the third segment, and pharynx at the third to fourth segment, esophagus at fifth to seventh segment, gizzard at eighth or eighth to ninth segment, stomach ninth to 10th and 14th segment, intestine a 15th up to last segment, except anus. Anus is the last segment. Here you can see the structure of alimentary canal of earthworm that just we discussed. As we already discussed, mouth is a crescentic aperture that is situated at the first segment, which will be presented below the prostomium, and mouth leads into the buccal cavity. Indigestion of food takes place through it, and buccal cavity, it is a shorter and wider thin-walled tube extending from second up to third or middle of the third segment, which is consisting of two kinds and mouth with the help of a special muscle for holding the food particles during the breathing. A buccal cavity leading into a spacious organ called a pharynx region. That pharynx region is a small, swollen, wider, and thin-walled, which is in pear-shaped chamber, which extends up to fourth segment. It is a wider than buccal cavity. It is distinguished from buccal cavity by means of constriction. It has the pharyngeal gland, which is located in the dorsal salivary chamber. Pharyngeal gland is composed of many chromophil cells, which produce saliva containing proteolytic enzymes called protease and mucin. Mucin makes the food soft, and protease converts the protein into amino acid. And esophagus, it is presented and extended up to fifth to 10th segment, sorry, fifth to seventh segment, which is very narrow and thin-walled tubular structure. It has no glands. It passes the food particles from pharynx to gizzard. It leads into gizzard. Gizzard is a oval, thin-walled, and highly muscular organism, laying in eighth to ninth segment. It is the hardest part of the alimentary canal due to the presence of inner lining of the cuticle. It also possesses chitinous teeth-like projections that helps in grinding or crushing the food, so acts as a grinder during the feeding. A stomach gizzard leads to short, narrow, thin-walled, highly vascular tubular structure called a stomach, which extends up to 9th or 10th to 14th segment, which is wider than esophagus, that has calciferous gland, which helps in neutralization of food by calcification process. And stomach leads to the intestine. The glandular cells of stomach produce proteolytic enzymes for the digestion of proteins. Intestine, it has a long, wider and thin-walled tube which extends up to 15th to the last segment except anus. It is inner lining is ciliated, vascular, folded and glandular. Its intestinal lining is folded to form villi. One of the villi becomes larger and well developed than other called typhlosole, which runs mid-dorsally from 27th to 25th segment. Typhlosole divides the intestine into three regions. They are pre-typhlosaur region that extends from 15th segment to 26th segment. So it is the first part of the intestine which consisting of villi but no typhlosole. In 26th segment, there is a pair of short and conical lateral outgrowth called intestinal SEEC-2, which extends upward up to 23rd segment. Intestinal SEEC-2 produce amylase, which helps in a starch, that is carbohydrate digestion. And next one is typhlosaur region. It is the second or middle part of the intestine, which extends up to 27th segment to the last from the 25th segment. It has both the villi and typhlosole. The typhlosole is a highly vascular and granular fold that increases the absorptive surface area of intestine. And last one is post-typhlosaur region. It is the last part of the intestine, laying in the last 23rd and 25th segment in just front of the anus. It is also called as a rectum. It lacks villi and typhlosole. It contains a small pellets of mud which are thrown out through the anus to form casting. Anus, it is a circular opening in the last segment called anal segment. The undigested food materials release out through the anus in the form of worm casting. Yes, we have digestive glands. The earthworm is having, yes, there are different types of digestive glands presented, which is associated with the alimentary canal of the earthworm. Those are pharyngeal gland, gastric gland, intestinal ceca. And when coming to the physiology of the digestion, digestion is the biochemical process in which complex organic food that broken down into the simple, soluble and diffusible form in the presence of respective enzymes. Here, earthworms feed upon all kinds of organic humus and debris such as decaying leaves and seeds, protozoans, etc., present in the soil. They also feed directly on leaves, grasses, and other vegetation. So first, during the feeding, the buccal cavity is protruded out with the help of protractile and retractile muscle. Then the food is drawn into the mouth. The ingested food enters into the pharynx region through the buccal cavity. The dorsal chamber of the pharynx consisting of the pharyngeal gland, which is composed of chromophyle, a cell which produces saliva containing mucin and protease. As we already discussed, mucin lubricates the food and protease converts the protein into amino acids. Then the food is passed through the esophagus into the gizzard, where grinding and crushing of the food material taken place into fine state due to the contraction of the circular muscles of gizzard. The grinded food material enters into the stomach, where the neutralization of food taken place by calcification process. Also, there the complete digestion of food takes taken place by calcification process. Also, um, that the food material enters into the intestine. Intestinal ceca produce amylase, which converts the starch into glucose. In intestine, several enzymes are secreted and acts on the substrate. Um, like protease converts the protein into amino acid, amylase converts the starch into two molecules of glucose and maltose, and cellulase converts the cellulose into glucose. Chitinase digests the chitin of exoskeleton of the insects. Lipase converts fats into fatty acids and glycerols. Yes, here the digestion occurs mostly in the intestine, and the digested food is absorbed by villi, then pass into the bloodstream through the capillaries. Undigested food and the soil are released out in the form of casting through the ants. So here it is the circulation of blood, the route of blood circulation through the different vessels is uh, you can see here, and excretory system, as just we discussed about excretion happens through the anus. The process of removal of metabolic waste products, including nitrogenous materials like ammonia, urea, uric acid, amino acid, etc., from the body is called excretion. Excretory system consisting of nephridia as excretory organ, which is analogous to kidney of vertebrates. The nephridia are porous, long, thin, and coiled tube are found in all segments except first three. So here we have, depending upon the position in the body, there are three types of nephridia. Septal nephridia, that is also called as typical nephridia, pharyngeal nephridia, integumentary nephridia. Here you can see the structures of step, uh, septal nephridia and typical nephridia. As we know, earthworm is a hermaphrodite. Earthworms are but they cannot fertilize their own eggs because of their relative position of male and female genital aperture, and they are protrandrous. Protrandrous means the male sex organs mature earlier than female gametes. So here the cross fertilization taken place. Here the male reproductive organs are considered like a testis, that is presented in the 10th to 11th segment, which is two pairs of small white lobed testes are presented, and testis sac are enclosed by wide thin walled whitish structure known as testis sac, that is presented in 10th and 11th segment. Testis sac communicates with a pair of seminal vesicles of succeeding segments. The duty of spermatogonia is undergo maturation, division to form spermatozoa or sperm, maturation of sperm taken place in the seminal vesicles. And female reproductive organs, here the female reproductive organs are the ovaries, a pair of small whitish and lobulated ovaries located in the 13th segment on either side of ventral nerve cord. Each ovary consisting of several finger-like projections, a process in which ova are arranged in the linear series in various stages of development, being mature in the distal part and immature in the proximal part. The function of ovaries are they form ova. And oviductal funnel. Oviductal funnel that is presented below the ovary, that oviductal funnel and travel backward along the oviduct. Here you can see the copulation and cocoon formation. This is female 4 and genital markings and sperm transfer taking place like this. Here we don't need much about the nervous system in this part, but still, yes, we have a central nervous system of earthworm is well developed. It consisting of three parts. One is central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and sympathetic nervous system. Here you can see all these nervous systems in one picture. So this is about the highlighting points and structure of earthworm, and also we discussed about the systematic position of the earthworm and habit and habitat of earthworm and external characteristics of the earthworm. Along with that, we also discussed about the terms like vermiculture, vermitechnology, and NE6, endogamics, and epi NE6. So tomorrow we'll discuss about the actual part of vermicompost preparation, how we can prepare, what are the basic raw materials we need for the preparation of vermicompost, and what are starter and what is that, earthworms, and how to construct the thatched roof and vermi shed, and what are the parameters we have to maintain, like pH, how much pH we have to maintain, how much moisture, aeration, and temperature. So with this, today I'm going to end it up with today's topic, that is introduction to vermi composting and vermiculture. I'm signing.